have a love-hate relationship with OKRs because there are many reasons. One of them, and I think the biggest one, is I end up in meetings where we're looking at how we're tracking against our goals, and we lose the essence or the insights that come with it. And so, like, the truth is, we're still early in our journey, and so learning is so incredibly important. And if I'm only tracking, like, how I'm pacing towards our MQL, like, goal, revenue goal, DAU goal, and whatever goal I might have, like product usage, I'm like, okay, like, we're trying to expand in a new market, like, is it resonating? Is it not? Like, there is no OKR you can implement that will ever tell you this. And OKRs tend to lead people to optimize for, like, the scores. And you want, like, I want the accountability, so we do them, but love-hate relationship comes from me having to constantly come back to the why and the insights and the learnings and not just the grading.
I very much resonate with that. I think I found many times that KR becomes the O, and it sometimes, hurts the company because people get so focused on the number.
Yeah.
So you've been a pioneer in sort of radical transparency among SaaS businesses. Can you share what it means to you, why it's so important?
I think it's important because I experienced a company that was not transparent, and I saw how detrimental it was to my engagement. So, like, I'm not saying, like, you have to be transparent, but usually you take like a work environment or a project, you apply transparency to it, and things are much better. And I've just been convinced that it would lead to more productivity, more trust, more engagement. Just everything is better with transparency. And I share with the team very often, like, transparency doesn't mean sharing everything. There is good and bad transparency, and good transparency helps answer questions, and bad transparency raises more questions. And so I'm not saying, like, just share everything. Like, for example, our salaries, like, are not public, and I feel very good about this, and I can explain why. But being deliberate about being transparent and having this good level of transparency has just yielded to so much trust, and everything goes faster. But if you just use it like 90% of the way, like, it doesn't work. So there is an art where, like, you need to be 100% transparent on the things that matter, which doesn't mean, like, sharing 100% of the things. And if you master that art, I just feel like it yields such great results.
So I just want to take back to the point you mentioned. So let's assume, like, you had a bad quarter,
yes.
Right? I think, like, a natural sort of entrepreneur sort of feeling is that I need to, like, hide that thing, like, talk about, like, things that are better coming up. But what I'm hearing from you is a little bit like you got to take that head on, share that with the company, because that actually can drive more productivity.
Yes.
Which is worth, I think the audience will love to understand that a bit more.
100%. And the reason why I shared previously that I think it's super important to have frameworks that prevent you from thinking, like, should I be transparent or not, is you have to share the bad results. Where I'm coming from is people often think that engagement comes from, like, hyping people, like, giving them energy. And so, being in front of the company and saying, we really missed this quarter. Like, this is way less energizing, maybe, than we've done so well. Like, we set these very ambitious goals, we've hit them, so great. And yet, I think it is counterintuitive, but it is way more encouraging and, like, will create way more energy for people to know that you're not trying to hide anything. I always feel like people can tell. Like, people who, hide, like, either they will talk about another metric that went well, and it's like, okay, but we're not talking about the things that we used to talk, like, just 2 months ago. Like, people can tell, they will lose trust, and they will also lose, like, why they're working on the thing they're working on. Like, if we missed our revenue numbers, it's because something is not working. If something is not working, we need to work on this. So if people connect the dots, like, I'm working on this because that didn't yield the results expected, then there is just more meaning. So I feel so strongly that you shouldn't listen to your fears in these situations, and just implement whatever process you can to prevent you from even thinking about it. People always know when we have a bad quarter.